Hi guys, so this is my first official video for the channel, and today I want to talk about something that's really kind of been bothering me, and I kind of want to know what people think on both ends, from no party politically to super conservative, mid conservative, moderate, all the way to liberal and full liberation. Oh, I don't know. So back in 2020, when the protests started, how everyone started protesting for their rights, modern day in the 2020s, first starting with Black people marching because of police brutality and racism in America. Then that situation was taken out of context by people who already have a problem with the Black community and saying that we were rioters, labeling Black protests as riots. Oh, excuse me. But the thing is that I'm one of the people who protested, one of the people who went to one of the first protests. And guess what? When I was protesting, I was respectful of my city. I made sure people followed all pedestrian laws. I was leading the protests. And when we got to the police station, did we attack police? Did we attack the building? No, all we did was protest and voice our opinions and stuff. Like, no one touched each other. There was no fighting, nothing like that, no disrespect. In fact, there was almost like a mutual respect with some of the officers, not all. Okay? So here's my point, what I want to talk about today. Why are Black protests labeled riots? But if you're white, the protest is labeled a protest. And if you were doing something like, there's a woman who got killed for going to that January 6th thing at the Capitol, and she was killed. And they say that she wasn't a rioter, she was a protester, and she was murdered. But the people that were at a different protest in regards to Black lives, they were rioters and they deserved to die, and the killer did the whole world a favor by taking them out. So my thing is, how do we think like that? As one society, how do we think like that as a people? How do we separate each other and based off of our preferences say, oh, this person's a rioter because they're Black, no matter what the situation? And then, not only that, our entire protest and the reason why we're protesting was flipped around. And everything was taken from us. The attention that we needed for our community to get better was taken from us, from other cultures, and they started protesting. And they didn't give us any type of recognition. They just said me, 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 me. And then ours got swept under. And then again and again and again, that has continued to happen. And now the Black community is being so looked over that even when you bring up reparations, there was a news reporter, white woman, who came on TV and said, well, if you want to talk about reparations, Africans enslaved other Africans. Now, Americans that are fully melanated, or mostly melanated, that are in America, that went through chattel slavery, that went through slavery and the different systems that trickled down from slavery that occurred in America, you don't think that black people should have reparations for that? And you don't think we should protest for that? We're just making it up. We shouldn't feel that way. But then you say, well, white people were slaves too. But why don't you protest for reparations for those white slaves instead of demeaning and bashing and distinguish? I forget the word that I'm trying to say. I don't want to say the wrong word, but basically putting out the flame of black folks getting what's owed to them. So many people have literally received reparations from this country. But now when it comes to black people, everyone has a problem with it. And that's just something I don't understand. I don't understand why people have to do tit for tat, but let's talk about this. They don't do that to the Native Americans. They never have and they never will. They will never say, well, we white people didn't blah, 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 this or blah, 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 that to them. Our current generation didn't do that to them. So then do you think that all the natives should not have the land and they should no longer get any of the benefits that they get per month? Like, for instance, if you're a Native American and you get on a housing assistance program, the money that you get from the government for your ancestral history doesn't count as your income. And it also applies to any other types of financial assistance, housing, a lot of different things. Now, black people have been so disproportioned in this country that from the time that our ancestors, our great-grandparents and our grandparents were able to start building things, they were never able to keep it. Let's not forget that our churches were being burned down. Our homes were being burned down. Black Wall Street was burned down. Anytime black people tried to build something, actually, white people tore it down. And that's what modern day white people are not realizing. They're not seeing that they're again repeating history in modern day, tearing black people in the community down so that we cannot get up. It's not that we do not want to not work for what we have and what we get. What we want to be is on the same stool that you are standing on. Your grandparents and great-grandparents were able to pass down generation after generations of wealth, including wealth from owning slaves, including wealth from the work of black people who never got paid. So this is another reason why they don't want us learning the history of America in regards to what happened during slavery, during segregation, in between fighting for segregation to end, and after segregation. Do you think that it all just went away? It didn't, and it's still here. So we have a big problem in this country that we really need to work on, and we need to open our minds to be able to work on it and talk about it and not bring hate into it. When I say black people, white people, Native Americans, I'm just talking about the facts of the matter. And it has to be put out as the facts. You cannot sugarcoat these things. Hate is different than the truth. You might not want to hear the truth, and you might get angry and hateful because of hearing the truth. But that's on you. That's on you to work through with you, not for you to put hate out into the world to everybody else. It's time for the Black community to stand together. Whether you are a mixed Black, half Black, 75% Black, 63%, whatever percent you are, it's time for our community to stand together, because every other community watches what they can do and how far they can go and what they can take. The whole period of the protest was so that our lives could be understood, so that our lives could matter to the same people that are trying to tear them down today. Instead, those protests were turned into other issues for other communities that already have support. And then guess what Black people did? Black people supported those issues. Black people supported all of those things. And we always do, probably always will show support, because we are the leaders of starting things. And that is not being cocky or conceited, but that is just the fact of the matter, is that we're trailblazers, we're leaders, and then people track off of that, and then they start to build their own track. But the thing is that when will those communities come to our community's aid? When will our government officials come to our aid and actually stand up for us? There is so much hate for Black people. Speaking from experience, where I live, in the county that I live in, there is so much hate for Black people, or discrimination. I want to talk about this, guys. Let's have real conversations about it. If you want to have a dual video live, I guess like a dual live video with me, and we can chat about this, I'm willing to speak with those people who have the views of us that are not in the most positive light. And I want to understand why they feel that way, and what facts do they have to feel that way? Or in fact, are they stemming those feelings and emotions from their ancestors? When you say, I didn't do those things, so I don't care about those issues or those people, and they basically mean nothing to me, you are still a part of the problem. Just like I saw something recently on Twitter. This thing with Ohio, Palestine, Ohio. There are people on Twitter who are conservative Republicans talking about, if this was Black people, they would have approved the aid. It really saddens me to read things like that, because they'll say they just want a handout from the government. But when it comes to them, they're like, well, why isn't the government helping us? They would help Black people, but that's not true. Mississippi. Did they help Mississippi? What about in Katrina? Louisiana? What about in Michigan? Flint, Michigan? The water is still poisoned. That's a Black community, Flint, Michigan. There are so many issues in the Black communities that go unaddressed. unresolved, unfunded, underfunded, funds running out because people of color have taken all the funds, but those people of color are not black. But those same people of color mark themselves down as white on all of their paperwork. Whew. These are things we got to talk about. And I just get so passionate about these things. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't agree with rioting at all. I don't agree that we should tear down people's places and things or anything like that or cause violence. I think there's a peaceful way to do things. You can peacefully protest. But there's a danger in labeling people, a whole group of people, as basically terrorists. Okay? When you call someone a rioter, you are saying that they're causing trouble, that they are defacing property, that they're doing bad things. If that is not the definition of tearing down a community, then I don't know what is. I want white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, Latin people, Islander people, which, the Islander people really, they don't really be too much in or out of all this stuff. They stay in their community and they take care of each other. They don't really dip into all this. Not to say that I haven't dealt with nasty Islanders, okay, because I've dealt with nasty Islanders. And also I have a family of Islanders. So, Islanders can be a mixture of any kinds of things, okay? So it just depends on the person. Let's talk about these issues. Comment your opinion on this subject. Tell me what you think about what I said. I want you to tell me what you think about this situation in America with Black people and how they're treated. And I want to know what you think should be done or what you think shouldn't be done and why. If you're going to have a difference in opinion about what I'm saying, then I want you to tell me why. If you have an opinion on something, then you must have a reason why other than hate. It can't stem from hate. It has to be a real, logical, thoughtful presence of an idea that you think you have. This page that I've created isn't for hate. I'm not going to allow anyone to tear me down or tear my community down, no matter what. My people are not perfect at all, but my people are the reason why the world of humans exists. That's for another video. I have the facts and I'm going to give them to you. This is Kanaya. And this has been the first episode of Confrontational Conversations with Kanaya. KKWK. Hashtag in the comments. KKWK. Show your girl some love. Subscribe, like, share, express your feelings. Let me know what's up. As always, guys, I love you. Take great care. And I'm going to see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.